Hey all, this is Vidhan Agrawal, AIR 11 and marks 147 in CET 2020. And today we have Zeel Khona with us, who is 99.98 percentile in CET 2020 and rank 17. So Zeel, please tell us something about yourself.
So hello everyone. My name is Ziri Kola, and I was an MBA aspirant. I have given CET 2020, and I secured the 17th rank all over Maharashtra with a score of 145. That is 99.98 percentile. Talking a bit about my background, I'm a CA as well. So I have completed my CA through first attempt across all the levels, and now I'm here doing my MBA.
So guys, we've got some really intelligent person with us today. So Zeel, first of all, congratulations for your marks. And just tell us how that moment was when you
Thank you.
when you saw the result.
I still remember it. I actually, after giving the paper, I didn't expect a lot because I was like, okay, chalo, I'll get around somewhere around 85, 90, and then that won't fetch me a good college, which I actually wanted. So I was during the result time also, as we all know, the result dates have been fluctuated. Earlier it was some, and later it happened to be quite a bit of delay. So when the results were out, I actually didn't expect a lot of it. But then when I saw my name on the first page of the result itself, scoring 145, that is 99.98 percentile, I was taken a bit back because I didn't expect it. But then I was very happy because that opened my gate for my dream college. And that's when I decided that, yes, that's it. Now I don't want anything else ahead of it.
That's
So yeah,
great.
it was a very great feeling.
So one really needs motivation to study so much for CET after completing your CA. So really hats off to you for that. So when did you start your CET specific preparation and did you appear for any other exams?
Yeah, so I had already appeared for NMAT and CAT before I appeared for my CET. So preparations, if you ask me, I had started way long back in you can say May or June because I had to appear for CAT as well. So you can say not even May, June, but from April 2019 I started my preparations because I had to give CAT 19. Then I had to appear for my NMAT ka window, and then I had to appear for CET 2020. So my preparation started in April for the other exams. My NMAT got over somewhere in mid of December, and my CAT was in end of December. So Jan was the time I focused only on the topics which were CET oriented because the topics which were common for CAT and CET were already covered by me. So Jan was the time when I gave time to focus on the topics which were only there in CET. For example, abstract reasoning is not there anywhere else. So now I had to focus on that part. So those areas I started around in Jan, but for the major chunk got covered because of the other competitive exams well ahead in, you can say, by September, October, I had covered a well part of it.
True, true, true. That's right. That's right. So this was the second attempt for CET or this was the first attempt CET 2020?
No, no. It was my first attempt itself for all the competitive exams for CAT 19 and MAT 19 and CET 20. All three, it was my first attempt.
So hitting the bullseye in the first attempt itself.
Yeah.
So how did you prepare? Like, how many mocks did you give, and initially, how much did you score in those mocks?
See, talking about firstly, I talk about CAT and NMAT. Those I had given like approx. You can say if I total both for both of those competitive exams, I could say I would have given around 30 to 40 mocks. Those are the full-fledged mocks, only related to a specific topic or you say to a specific subject. They would have easily crossed 70, 80. But then only CET, I had given around you can say 50, 60 mocks because I had given more of mocks just to make sure that I do not breach the time limit. Because in CET, as we all know, there's no negative marking. So you can just go on solving as many as you can. But the trickiest part is to complete all the questions in the given time limit. That is that is where people generally fall back, or that's the point where people think that now this is not possible to do. But if you ask me, if you keep a timer, if you go on practicing, if you go on hitting that nail harder, 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 you can definitely give all the questions in that given time limit. So yeah, it's possible. So basically, for that, I had given. I in the initially in the mocks, I didn't make sure to score well. I just made sure to complete all those questions in the time limit at least. And firstly, I tried not to use that formula of just bluffing. I used to first only attempt those questions which I actually know, because if you bluff in the initial stages and then you get it right, that's a wrong confidence which you're building, because you
Okay.
don't know stuff, and then that will burst the balloon in the exam, which is completely wrong according to
Correct,
me.
correct, correct.
So I used to only attempt which I know, and try to attempt as many as I can. Then at a later stage, when I was in January, February, I started giving mocks, taking into consideration all the elements, the topics that I know, the time limit, as well as that I need to score a good score. So if you ask me, in the when I started giving emphasis on the score, at that time I used to score between 120. You can say 120, 125. In that range, I used to score. So 120 to 130 I used to score. So it's always that when you attempt, and I had coaching classes. So our coaching classes used to put up these mocks. So those mocks used to be always on a tougher side.
Okay,
So then
okay.
if you are able to crack those in, say, with a score of 128, 130, it's very good. So they used to also tell us that if you are able to crack it with a score of 125 and above, you can expect 138, 135 in your actual CET. So yeah, in that way, I had covered so many mocks, because I used to, because my primary focus was on timing and then on the score.
Correct, correct. So your 60 mocks was starting from January, right?
Yeah,
That's great, that's great.
because
So
initially whatever mocks before January, because whatever mocks I used to give were basically not CET, not of the pattern of CET. I used to give them for CAT and NMAT.
correct,
So
correct.
we know that the pattern is different in the competitive exam. So CET oriented mocks I started only in Jan.
So people Z took around 60 mocks in the time span of 2.5 months, right?
Yes,
That
yes.
that involves pretty a lot
So
of
it to be,
dedication.
yeah, because initially I used to do like, I used to take a mock 2, 3 days, I used to analyze and then again take a mock. But then in the last 15, 20 days, because of that speed and because of your continuity and touch with the topic, you are like even able to, if you are dedicated enough, you're even able to take 2 mocks a day and then analyze it as well.
Of course, of course.
Because CET topics are not that difficult. So analyzing won't take much time as compared to the other competitive exams. Therein you need require time to analyze, because you need to put in that thinking concept. And here, whereas abstract reasoning, for example, if I say A, B, C, D, and then answer will be E only. There's you don't have to think about it. So then the analysis takes a lesser time. So then you can even try and give 2 mocks a day. So in that way, I had covered so many mocks.
That's great. That's great. So, see, tell us how was your time distribution strategy? Like, how much time did you give to each and every section, and what was the order in which you attempted?
So yeah, so going about, as you all know that I'm a CA now. So cons has been always my all-time favorite, and it has been so since childhood. So I always liked cons, and I had that confidence that cons would take much time for me. So I would a bit, if I would fumble somewhere or I would take a much of time, was the VA section. So what I did was, for me, DILR and cons were one of the favorites amongst all the other chapters or subjects or topics, if you tell me. So what I did was, I started with DI section, the DILR section, and I went about doing only those which I'm pretty confident about and wouldn't take much time. It's like I see and I know the answer. I see and I know the answer. So if that doesn't take much time, it helps me to save time, which I can give it to VA, which according to me, for me, was a weaker section. So what I did was, I started with my DILR. I tried to complete as many questions within, say, if I just telling you, say 10 minutes. So 10 minutes I give to DILR section. I do as many questions as I can. I jump to abstract reasoning. Abstract reasoning is out of 25 questions. It's like there are, I can tell you, 12 to 15 questions such which you just look and you get the answer. You
True,
look
true,
and you get the answer.
true.
So those should not even take a minute if you see. Not even minute is like too much. I'm talking about 10 seconds or 15 seconds and you know the answer. So
Correct.
so I used to give like 5 minutes to abstract reasoning and do as many as possible in those 5 minutes. Then I used to give time to VA I used to do with a very calm mind, with a very focused. I used to give as much time as possible for it. Then I used to go to cons, which was like, for me, cons was my forte. So I could do, see, the all the questions in say 20 to 25 minutes. That's it.
Oh,
I used to complete the cons section. So then once cons is done, I used to go back, jump back to the DILR because there I have left time and I have left questions over there. Then I used to do that, and the last 10 minutes is just for questions which you don't know but you just want to give it a try. So the
okay.
last 5 to 7 minutes are for those questions.
Flukes. Flukes, right.
Yeah.
So, did you have any strategy for the cons and DI section while preparing or while attempting any specific strategy?
Yeah. Specific strategy, I would say, for DI especially is when you see people generally tend to see a long paragraph or a DI, for example, a pie chart or a bar graph, and they tend to skip it, saying that it is too long or if it is too lengthy, it'll be very difficult. But as far as you ask me, I have attempted those first because even if they are lengthy, they are very easy. If you crack one answer, the answer follows. You get five answers if you crack one strategy.
Okay.
So DILR is always DILR is a tricky area where what you one needs to do is you need to think, and if you get that trick or if you get that clue in say first 1 minute of reading the passage or reading the paragraph or whatever the diagram is or the bar chart or the pie chart, if you get that trick or clue in 1 minute, it's your day. You just need to trust yourself and go about it. But if you are going on reading and still you're not finding, then just don't you break your brains over there, because even if you read for next 30 minutes, you'll not be able to solve it. And also one more thing, people tend to make a mistake wherein they go on reading fast and then they make one mistake, and then after reading the entire paragraph, they realize that they had made a mistake. For example, things happen in circular distribution or linear distribution or seating arrangement. These areas where there is a linear arrangement you need to make, and then you just go on filling the areas, and then at last when you reach you make a mistake and then you have to go again for the paragraph. That's the biggest mistake and that's the time killer which you are going for. So first you need to calmly glance through the entire passage once and then go on solving these areas with a very focused mind, because if you are in a hurry and you make a mistake, then you have to do it all over the again, and that will just take you more time. Rather than doing things, you'll break things. So that is one area. And cons, I would say there is nothing else but practice which helps to make cons easy. See,
Okay.
cons is nothing rocket science which you can't understand or you can't, crack it. It's just practice. And I would say, for example, according to me, VA section, people can ask paragraph from anywhere, from out of the universe. There are hundreds and thousands of topics from where it can come. It can come from science, it can come from medicine, it can come from biology, it can come from psychology, from any nook and corner of the world. But in cons, what happens, there is a concept. If you know the concept, you know the trick of that concept, then I don't think there's anything which can stop you from solving a question which is related to that concept. It is just that the facts will be tricked here and there. But still, if you know the concept, then you are by default to crack that question. So cons for me, it is just practice, and that makes things easy, I suppose.
That was pretty insightful, Z. And so this was a strategy for quants and DI. Was there anything specific for the LR
Yeah.
section, as in the puzzles and the traditional logic?
Yeah, so for that, there's no particular strategy as such. You just need to go with the question. You just need to follow what the question says. Just
Okay.
follow the instructions or the clues which are given in the question to the T. And I think that pretty much solves the question. You just don't need to crack your brains as such in those.
So yeah, so in short, you just have to be careful with the LR questions, especially with the puzzles. You shouldn't miss any
Correct.
data, and you should just glance once so that you know that the data given is direct and not gummified, so that you don't have to solve those statements itself. So that's great. So
Correct. Correct.
was there any strategy for the verbal section and the abstract section that you had solved?
Yeah, so coming to the VA section, what I did was firstly, I went through all the singular or the nuclear questions. That are the questions which are not related to the paragraph. They are just either grammar questions or questions which are kind of jumbled sentences. Those questions I tried to solve first. And then I went to the VA section. VA section also, I didn't do, people tend to do what Vidhan is that they go for the paragraph, they read two paragraphs, then they jump to the questions. They go to the questions, they try to find the answer in those two paragraphs. If they fit, then they go to the next question. I didn't do that. What I did was I went through the paragraph, the entire paragraph calmly, the entire whatever, three paras, four paras, the entire passage in particular, and then I went to the questions. Because once you know the crux of the passage which is given, it becomes very difficult to answer the questions. And at times in CET, I've even observed that sorry, the passages are such which are to some extent based on common sense. So if you know some facts from the passage that you have read, and if you apply your common sense, it you just don't need to go to the passage again and read it again. You just get the answers in the flow. So it is very important to read the passage and to be very alert while reading the passage. That is one more important thing, because you don't have anything to note down what is given. Passage, there's no option where you can highlight this is chalo, this is important, I'll highlight this and keep so that it'll help me. You don't have that leverage. So that's when you need to be very alert, and you need to know where the key components are present in the passage. So that's when you need what one can also do is suppose there's a passage on say some for example there's some passage on COVID which is going on, so there are some important dates or there are some important people names which are given. So you can you have always a rough sheet. So what one can do is you can write on the rough sheet para 1, 2, 3, 4. Suppose there's a four para passage. You can write 1, 2, 3, 4. And you just write the key points which are mentioned in each passage. For example, there is a date. So you can write para 1, that is the date. So even if the date is not the direct answer to any one of the questions in the questions to follow, but of course, there'll be a question surrounding that date. So that time you don't need to find कि अच्छा okay ये para one में था कि two में था. You just know that it is in the para one. You just go there and you get the answer. So that makes things easy. So that these are some minute details will help at the time of the exam. During the mocks, you won't feel it that helpful. You'll like कि हाँ चलो mocks, because the environment is also such. In the mocks, you are at home and you're giving, you're in your free time, so you'll be very friendly. But when you're there now, that same time it is there, but that pressure creates a lot of pressure in your mind, and things which are there in front of your eyes also you miss.
Correct,
Of
correct.
course, you'll be knowing because you have also gone through that.
So even
So
I
that
feel
time these
that
things help a lot.
passage first instead of just looking at the question first and going to the passage again. So that always works. You should know what is there in which paragraph, in which place of the
Yes.
RC. So yeah, that really helps. What was there anything specific for abstract as well?
Abstract, as I told you, see, there are abstract, if you ask me, there are 12 to 15 such questions wherein it'll be like you
Like
just glance and you know what is the next puzzle, what is
yeah.
the next style, you just know it. So
Mhm.
then those questions you just need to finish up in like 2 or 3 minutes,
Of
not
course.
more than that. Because if you take more time over there, It'll hamper a lot in your cons,
Yeah.
DILR and VA section. So abstract reasoning for me, according to me, is such a section where is like time saver. It's like a bonus section because there only that section where you can save time.
Of course, of course,
So
of
there's no strategy as such. It's just that you just need to look at such more puzzles because looking only related to similar puzzles will help you to identify what changes, how things change. Because after a certain point in time, those changes become repetitive. Like ये left से right गया, ये right से नीचे आया, नीचे से ऊपर गया. Those changes become repetitive. So once you got catch of that, it becomes very easy to crack the
correct,
abstract
correct,
reasoning
correct, correct.
section.
So yeah, people, just like Z said, abstract is really scoring, and it'll be great if you could finish your abstract in somewhere around 15 to 17 minutes, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, so Z, tell us, how did you manage the CET ka preparation with your work ex or your CA ka preparation, whatever was going on?
No, exactly. CA ka preparations I had completed CA in 2018 itself.
Okay.
So CA nowhere came in between my CG. But
Okay.
yeah, I was working before. I was working in 2019. Then I left my job and I then appeared for my competitive exams. But yeah, when I was working as well, I was doing my pre-preparations, you can say, because I was at that time giving importance to the basic concepts which I need to know beforehand. For examples, now we all know that because of the calculator and me being a CA, I'm used to that calculator, but we don't get calculator in our exams.
Yeah,
Then
right.
those by hearting those tables, by hearting those tricks, not by hearting exactly, but knowing those tricks
Doing
how
those.
to do that. So those I try, yeah. So those I tried to do, and I used to give 2 hours or, chalo, tough day, work day, work day. You can give only an hour or half an hour, but yeah, you should maintain a schedule wherein you make sure that at least you give an half an hour or an hour to your competitive exam studies because these studies are like they are not that hectic because after giving CA, after doing CA studies, I can pretty well say that these studies are very lightweighted as compared to the professional exam study.
True, true,
So
true.
these you can manage if you are having a bad day as well, but half an hour you can. And or kuch nahi, so these are puzzles. There are puzzles as well. Puzzles are like we all have fun solving them. So even if you can solve them when you are having a tough day, even that will work in your favor because at the end you are doing something related to the competitive exams and that will help you. So yeah.
That's great. That's great. But in this chaos, how did you motivate yourself? And do you have any message for the aspirants that look up to you for inspiration?
So talking about the motivation, it's been like I have been attached or connected to study since long. I always wanted to have these professional degrees and management degrees, and so for me, studies के लिए motivation कहीं अलग से ढूंढना is never has been a problem because it has been always that inner motivation. But yeah, I like to tell all those people who are watching this that see the motivation if you get an outer motivation for something it will not last longer one day or the other that outer motivation will stop and that day you will be like छोड़ो यार नहीं करना है this is rubbish this is not done for me but the moment you grow that inner motivation, you have that motivation from inside you. You say that nahi, kuch bhi ho jaye, ye to karna hi hai. That day will be, it will, things will start turning in your favor, and things will be like they'll seem a cakewalk for you. It'll be very easy for you unless and until you put in that effort, it'll be very difficult for someone to spoon feed you. See, when we were kids, it was very easy to spoon feed things, and we used to, chalo, theek hai, kar liya, kar liya. But once you start with these management studies and these professional studies, now no one is going to come and tell you कि ये पढ़ो तो ये एग्जाम में आएगा ये पढ़ो वो पढ़ो it's on you how much you want to score how much you want to prove yourself you don't need to prove it to someone else according to me as far as I know, I have set my own target, so I just need to reach there, and that's on me how I'm going to reach there. So Unless and until you put your foot on the pedal, it's not gonna work. So you need to find that inner motivation in yourself, and you need to push yourself. And it's not that difficult to find the inner motivation. See, we all have that inner motivation to go out with friends, to chat on social media. So that all was not there in us since we are childhood, but we just developed gradually. So, so is these studies. Yeah, they are not. They are also fun because I across my entire career of these studies, I found these management competitive exam studies the most fun part because they have these puzzles, they have these what do you say, the DI part, and they have these paragraphs which are fascinating. So it's a very loving journey, or I would say a loving career step. So then it's not that difficult. It's just that you need to stay focused and you need to find uh, an inner motivation wherein even if 10 people come and tell कि ये तेरे बस का नहीं, you prove them कि ये मेरे बस का नहीं, तो I will do it. Still I'll do it. So that is the turning point, I guess.
I'm sure this would motivate a lot of our aspirants and people. It's completely on you. If you score well, you'll get into one of the best B schools. You'll get one of the best jobs. You'll make great connections with the industrial leaders. So finally, it's for you, and it's you who's got to decide how much you have to study, what all you have to study, and for what. So Z, tell us, do you have any plans for the next 2 years?
So currently, I am seeking admission in my dream B school. So the next 1.5 year is just dedicated to MBA. And then, yeah, through that, I aspire and I'm confident that I will be able to get placed in one of the my dream companies. So it's just that I just want that every bit of the study which I have done and every bit of time and effort which I have put should pay off. Not in monetary or financial terms, but in terms of experience as well. See, it's a learning experience. Job is also a learning experience. So I just want that it should pay off. That's it.
I love that confidence. So thank you so much for being with us. People, this was 99.898 percentile CT 2020 Z Kona. Thank you all for being with us. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. All the best, everyone.